I got like this back here. I can just like lean back and just like go. Doeth the channel what you will. Haveth fun.
Oh, like the time when Jeff's foot was in the picture. That's fantastic.
Oh yeah, right.
I didn't know what they were talking about. What are you talking about?
Turn it down.
Oh, I'm working on it. I got it. Volume is off. Everything is good.
No, it's not.
All right, so to give you a breakdown of what you're looking at, this is going to be the comments are going to appear over here, and there's a lag. So try not to pay attention to too much of that because it just does this, and then we're backwards. Other than that,
And you're up.
We
and
go.
we're on. Yep.
And we on.
Yeah, we'll let everyone just kind of tell us what the weather is. That's another thing we always get stuck doing. Is like, hey, from Portland, it's 20 degrees and snowing, and we're like, awesome.
Oh yeah.
You know. Plus, the reason why we started doing that, like just chime in and tell us where you're from, and that naturally transitions into the weather. I don't know why, but probably because we live in Florida and it's always hot and sunny and beautiful, except for when it's not. Hey, Fang of Truth, we wanted to just know where everyone is chiming in from, because
You're worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, not just that. It's kind of blows your mind that there's some guy watching from Afghanistan or from Tobago or.
I see some friends from New Zealand that keep popping up all the time. It's pretty cool.
Oh, okay, so New Zealand, so that's why we have the boss.
And then it's like, go crazy. From Australia, what's going on?
A customer of ours brought us our boss water from,
Yeah.
Yep, got that, bro.
What's going on, guys?
See, here we go.
Bill.
It's
Bill
There's
Freeman.
Bill Freeman, hey.
What's up, David?
Jeff Farley, what's going on?
Andres.
Eric. Hey, Eric. See, they already know who you are.
Hey.
We've been selling you for the whole week.
That's right.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. So it's funny. So no,
Hey, high five, Vega.
Came in from hey, high five. What's up? Came in from Arizona, and so the hotel that I'm staying at, Supercross is happening tonight. So there were a bunch of guys in Monster sponsored jackets and backpacks and everything, and these are all the racers. And they were just getting checked in and stuff, and I'm texting my partner back at school, and I'm like, hey, can you get my flash drive for me? And she's like, yeah. So I hear that there's a Supercross that's going on tonight, and I said, yeah, a lot of them are staying at my hotel. And she's like, oh my God. So it was pretty cool to see,
I was about to, I was thinking about to take Sebastian to the
Supercross?
To the Supercross, yeah, because he liked that stuff. So.
Rockford's in the building.
Yeah, but I'm here.
Where's the free Rockford stuff? So when we were in the Jeff's training, and they were doing Stinger and Phoenix Gold, there was a guy in the classic going, "What are we doing a raffle?" Because he handed out raffle tickets, and they were handing out raffle tickets because that was your coupon code to get a discount later on
Hey,
on the products they had selected. So this guy kept going, "What are you giving away?" The whole training. Just
Are you doing the raffle? Are you doing
a raffle? You doing a raffle?
You're cluttering the feed.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. So finally, they did a raffle, and some guy walked around. That guy. So they gave away an Elevate.
There you go.
So the guy just walked around. With
Desley, hang on a minute.
What is the Rockford stuff?
It's not like it's that hard to see.
It's right here.
Said free
Rockford in the house. What's
there's
up?
no free Rockford stuff.
Hey, Eric Dudley.
Oh, actually, you guys
nice
are doing
photo.
a giveaway.
We do.
Is that on Instagram?
It's on all platforms.
So they
we're
are
gonna talk
doing
about
it.
that.
All right, let's just okay. First off, thanks for tuning in tonight, guys.
right.
Let's just hop right into it. Standing to my side here, because depending where you're at, it could be left or right, is I'm there. It's backwards. So I mean, is Mr. Eric Russell from Rockford Fosgate. And so, what is your official title for Rockford Fosgate?
Don't laugh. It's actually Web Wizard, because
So
Webmaster was a little lame at the time.
Okay.
So the director of marketing at that time said, we need to give your name something cool, something to punch it up. So we're going to call you the Web Wizard. So I've been actually doing the website since about 1996.
Now you're in charge of all the tech videos too, though.
Yes. So we've been doing a lot of installation videos for installers, and they're also used for a lot of consumers, just step by step. And we're right now trying to transition into other high-level cool videos, not product specific, but more just general car audio. So we're planning those for this coming year.
Wow, I know
That's
some
nice.
place that does a lot of those. Weird. weird how people want to do things like that. It's very strange.
Share the knowledge. That's what it's all about.
Just don't call it install diaries. Moving on. How long you been with Rockford? You've been there a minute or two.
A little bit. So I have been there for 30 years. I started in 1989.
High school? Right out of high school?
Pretty much. I had 2 jobs out of high school. Ironically, my sister and I resigned. I used to work at a window tinting company.
Okay.
So we both resigned the same day. And I was driving by, and literally down the street is Rockford, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I should check it out. I'll just put in an application while I look for a job. And I was the first hire back in 1989 because they were on a hiring freeze for several years. So I was the first employee that they hired back, starting a new season. And then since then, they basically, kept hiring. And then we built up what was then Hafler. We did Hafler,
I remember that.
Pro Audio, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Years.
Did Hafler go back to? Are they back to? Do you know if they're back to JBL?
So
to the Harman Group.
We sold them. I'm not sure who bought the assets, and then they were kind of rose up a little bit, and we really haven't heard much since.
I wonder what happened to them. Not that either of us care for this particular show, but it just shows our age.
So I was pretty lucky when I was in Hafler production. I had thank goodness, I had a decent reputation for quality control. So they found that out and took me over to build the Rockford Fosgate home theater amplifiers, the RF2000. So I don't know if you ever remember those. Those were giant bricks, and they were super heavy. And so I was brought over to build out the rest of the RF2000 amplifiers.
Whatever happened to that thing?
We weren't just making money on it.
Oh, shocking.
Shocking that you wind up having to cannibalize a product line. So, so Rockford obviously wanted to focus more into the car audio domain, so they stopped doing the home amplifier and preamplifier.
I wonder how that would do now.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, because is like esoteric is home audio is now, and the money that people are spending on it, I bet you it wouldn't do too bad. Plus, you got to think, a lot of the age demographics that grew up with Rockford Fosgate and their Punch 45s, Punch 75s are the guys that have the money now to put, 50, 60 grand into a home stereo.
Right.
Not saying everyone, relax. I'm just saying, not
It's
that
not
it would be
from
50 or 60
Canada.
grand, but I mean, I could see where a Rockford home product would probably do okay.
Well, with that demographic, I mean, that's why Rockford Fosgate, we haven't abandoned car audio. Obviously, we've got a new product to talk about here.
Why would anyone say that? I think that's mainly you that's been worried about
that. No, we get a lot
of
of smack talk on social media. I answer all the replies, so yeah, we get a lot. We've ventured into marine and motorcycle and motorsports. So, we get a lot of comments of why are you putting a speaker on a Razor? Because when I go out and spend time with my family, I want to do something, in the boat or in the Razor or something like that.
Just say it like this. I don't want to talk to them, so I want something loud to listen to instead of them going.
That's what Dean does.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Do we ever have the radio on?
That's
I'm
right.
the most non-radio listening to person there is.
Oh,
Especially if there's somebody in my car, there's no radio on. Because as soon as I turn it on, I was going to...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you don't have anything to say now? All right, turn it back. Well, so it's just no radio. Just
All
that
right.
Okay, so you say that you're you're still in the 12-volt business. Funny, because one of the things I talked about with Zach when he was here a couple years ago was like, because all except for the Power Series amplifiers, the old school, I'm going to say old school, but not really old school, the original OG Power Series amplifiers all have the distortion detector built into it, which is called clean.
Clean, yep.
So like this amplifier line is expensive, but doesn't have any of that stuff in it that the modern versions of the amplifiers do. And his explanation to me was,
hey,
is there anything else wrong with the amplifiers? I mean, they're still amplifiers. They're still some of the best amplifiers made today. It's just, what would it take to update them, and is anyone going to buy them at the new price they'd have to be? And it's like, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, Zach pretty much nailed it on that.
Yeah. I mean, and this is just snowballing here, but why would you spend the money to develop a 2500 watt amp that you already have a 2500 watt amp that is only ever going to do what a 2500 watt amp does, which is power the hell out of some subwoofers?
Right.
Why would you need to change that?
Well, with the smaller Power Series compact amps, we did upgrade those.
Oh, those are
with the
Oh
clean
yeah,
technology.
those have everything.
Super compact. They're really efficient. They have a lot of control in such a small package. So
wait, they get hot.
they're dual fan cooled.
I'm joking. People always ask me, it's like, but they get hot, and I go, they're made to go like up underneath fairings in some of the worst places imaginable,
Right.
and they play all day long.
Yeah.
So that's actually really funny that you say that Rockford Fosgate amplifiers get hot. Well, in history, we've actually designed the amplifier to do that specifically.
Okay.
Because it's called a heatsink?
Well, there's a way to clamp there's a way to clamp the MOSFET onto the heatsink, right? But there's losses there, and so the transistor gets really hot, and it loses that transfer sometimes going over to the heatsink.
Makes sense.
So we developed what was called Mesa at the time, which is it's called T-clad. It's a substrate. It's like a heat sink for the transistor.
Okay.
And so that heat sink goes in between the transistor and the heat sink itself. Excuse me, the transistor and the heat sink, and that just efficiently transfers the heat away from the MOSFET out to the heat sink. So people with like a 250 X2 are like, oh, the amplifier is like screaming hot, but if you actually took a thermal camera and looked inside, it's actually running much cooler than any other amplifier that could be made with just a normal sill pad.
Yeah.
So my answer has never been anything like that, but generally, yeah, it's made to be hot.
It's designed to do that.
If it's getting hot, it's working.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that when you look at like an amplifier design and you look at like engineers that work for a company and design something as opposed to something off the shelf, that's the break apart. That's where that gets different. Is that you guys design products to work a certain way, and
Right.
just like the acronym that you threw out earlier. I hate acronyms.
We're not doing acronyms.
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 That is why. Whereas you see like another small amplifier that is basically I'm gonna call off the rack bought that gets hot and shuts down because it doesn't have the technology that you guys put into it to make sure that it's going to function properly. I know that was a really long explanation.
That was your version of getting around the acronym, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
It doesn't always make sense, but sometimes it does. But yeah, no, I think Zach hit it right on the head. And there again, if you're going to develop a line of amplifiers that, first off, let's develop an line of amplifiers that people can buy.
All right, so David has a question. It says, does the PBR 404 runs cooler than the PBR 304?
So for those of you wondering, what is a PBR? It's not a Pabst Blue Ribbon. It is this sexy guy right here. And
Awesome
to compare that, we were just talking about this earlier. See, this is why I keep things together.
Exactly
Yeah.
So this is a 50 watt by 4 amplifier that is
Was.
typically in your
Was.
head unit.
Yep.
This
exactly.
is a 50 watt by 4 PBR amplifier. This is, of course, the updated version, which we've done extensive testing with in Fernando's car in the lab, where we use this to power a P2 8-inch, which is that what's in your car right now? The P2 8-inch, and then a set of 6.5-inch components up front,
That's right.
and all powered off of this. So back to the heat question, is this one more efficient than the previous 300?
So the 400 is Class D,
Yes.
and the 300 is it's Class BR. Technically, is what we call it. So different topologies. So the Class D actually runs cooler, so we actually can get more power out of it, in the same size of heatsink.
There you go.
There's your answer.
So, and Eric say, Rockford 40 years anniversary, congratulations.
Hey, thanks.
Let's
Appreciate
talk
it.
a little bit about the 40th anniversary jumping tracks here. Did we figure out who you are? We know who you are. We know how long you've been working in Rockford.
So I've been working in marketing. So I don't know if you knew that. I used to work in IT.
Okay.
And came back into marketing, and I've been working on their website. I used to write all the owner's manuals from, remember the Punch 4020 DSM?
Nope.
When the 4040 4080 came out?
No.
So that's
No, I wasn't.
that's when I started
Not
writing
even here,
owner's
you know.
manuals. Yeah. And then, so I basically migrated into the website. Now I just do a lot of Tech Breeze videos and the website. Just like you guys do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think there's room for fans in this.
There's no fans.
No.
Yeah, there's no fans.
No.
Have you ever taken one of these apart? You've taken one of these apart.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's some like crazy like.
That's,
It's like
The Power Series is like really intricate.
yeah.
Where it slides
no,
yeah.
in.
When we
and out,
when we
yeah.
reviewed this,
Yeah.
we took them both apart. Took both, the 3
Okay.
and the 4, and it was like, that's magical.
Yeah, super compact.
All right, I love the P312 right behind it. Awesome type and bass. Yes, they are. They're awesome.
So before we get to the 40th anniversary, let's talk about these for a minute. We do a ton of these. So they make the 2 versions of the 10, truck and hatchback, I guess would be the easiest way to. 2 versions of the 12, truck and hatchback. We have the P500 now, which is the amplified version.
Yep.
We have an 8-inch. We have 2 8-inch. We have 1 8-inch or 2.
One ported 8-inch.
One ported 8-inch, and then
we
one.
have that super compact one that fits like for under seats.
That's a different
Right.
category,
Entry
though.
level, yeah.
Don't
I
they
like
make
the
a
ported
wedge
one.
8-inch too?
Yeah.
Or no, is it just the 1
Just
8-inch?
1 8-inch ported.
That's one we never got. Okay. Oh, that was a rip. No. So let's talk about these for a minute. What's going on? Like, so it's a 300-watt amplifier in all of them, except for the 500, which is a 500-watt amplifier.
Yes.
What made you guys do this, and why does it sound so good?
Well, there's a lot of customers that just need to add bass quickly.
Yeah.
Say specifically for leased vehicles. You're not going to invest a lot into the wiring and electrical or the audio system.
Acreage, 100% copper.
So, acreage, yeah.
Yep.
So this is a really great solution to just quickly add bass to any of those systems. You know, I can lease the car, I can add bass, and then when I have to turn it back in, I can easily pull this back out. Actually, what's funny is one of the most requested parts that we get is for the power connector, because when people pull it out, they forget the power connector. So when you do pull that bass box out, make sure that you remove the input jacks, and the input connector and the power connector.
And the bass knob.
And the bass knob.
Yeah,
Yes.
But you guys sell those just in case.
We sell
right?
all those as parts.
So there you go. Just
Bass
in
knobs
case it's
are the
5
biggest.
o'clock. Oh yeah, a lot of bass
The
knobs.
biggest accessory that we sell is bass knobs.
we are the same. Right here is like P312, P310.
That's the okay. So if I
It's
had
just-
one complaint about that, because that's is that
That's Dean.
make it smaller. It's so big.
The bass knob?
Yes.
Or the enclosure?
The bass
No,
knob.
the
No,
bass
the
knob.
Dude, this is like Paul's #1. You need a P300.
Yes, it's like
you know, he
right
loves selling
there.
these, but
Mhm.
to me, it's like that bass knob. It's so big. It's like just smaller.
So the engineer and I were talking about the brightness of the LED. And we know that we get a lot
Does
of
this one
people...
have the LED?
No,
This one
They
doesn't have the
don't,
LED.
but the ones that do have the
Oh
LED
my
Right.
gosh,
of the
no, that
brightness.
always-
You know that would be cool if you actually make the bass knob like a flash mount on the P300. So you
Well,
can
I get
take
what
it
he's.
out.
Yeah, but see, now that we know that their thought process behind
right,
it, which
right.
is for
Yeah,
these
correct.
vehicles and simple
Yeah.
stuff like that,
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense the way the bass knob is because
Yes.
it's big enough that it can jam into a pocket, and it's also easy enough to mount to where it's not getting in the way. So it makes sense, but in form and function are two different things. Your guys' function isn't how it's being formed.
Sure.
I mean, most people aren't using it that way. They're using
Correct.
it as a like, I have a car, I want bass. That's my price range. Let's do this, bro.
Sure, and you know that's where we stepped up into the bass knob for the Punch and Power Series amps. They do.
Yeah, this knob
You
is
can get
Yeah.
take it apart and flush mount it, surface mount it, under dash mount.
You know, you can
however
always
want
just
to.
say, hey man, you can want in one hand.
You can-
Yeah, this ain't gonna happen, bro.
All right.
Um,
I have.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah,
ask.
all right. How do you transfer use settings from the DSR1 from a phone to another one? And what button you say you not to press?
Dean, that's your specialty.
So if you download the DSR1 software on 2 devices, as soon as you plug the current device into the DSR1 or pair it to it, whatever's on the DSR1 is automatically going to move over to the new device. That's the problem we have, is that if we tune it here and we don't move our tune off of the device into a backup file, so there's always going to be 2 copies of every file. The file that doesn't sit on the device, that is a permanent, that's like yay, and then the one that sits on the device that's going to get hosed. If you go in and manipulate it some. But anytime you plug a device into it, it automatically moves that file over to it. We recommend that you make a copy of it, call it master, check it to make sure it's there, and then immediately move it off to the device and put the other preset back on.
Yeah.
That way, anytime you plug it in. Now, if you want to make a copy of master on the new device, then obviously all you have to do is move from the old device, move master over, and then move master over, and then move it off. So, I mean, but anytime you plug it in, it automatically syncs up. That's the thing that bugs me.
Yeah, we need to. We always in tech support we always make sure to suggest to the customer to make a copy of your file.
Yeah.
So that way it doesn't get overwritten or.
Yeah.
Sometimes we tell the people make a copy of the file and then make another copy just in case
Just
that
in
you
case.
lose it. Yeah.
Yeah, make a copy of a copy, and also move it on to make sure it's an actual copied
Yeah.
copy. Because sometimes it doesn't, it's a computer. They don't always do what you want. So
Yeah.
you know a little bit about that.
Computers?
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the 40th anniversary.
Yes.
All right.
Let's do that. So that means like 10 years before you started, because you've been there 30 years. So
Yeah, so in 1980, Rockford Fosgate, Jim Fosgate needed that investor for the company to keep it afloat. So Rockford was formed with Jim Fosgate, and they created Rockford Fosgate.
who was Rockford?
So Rockford was an investment group.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. I was gonna say because
it's called Camelback Investments.
Back
If you want to know the technique.
no, not really. Really weird.
So and then it's kind of weird because only until did I see the 40th video come out, where it's 4 amplifiers and 40 years, I had to kind of rewind and realize, dang, I started in 1989. So when I was 9 years into this, 9 years into the company being fresh, and now we're here at 40 years. So it's been quite a ride, and it's been something that's been life-changing for me.
Oh,
it's been
most
super
definitely. I
cool.
mean, that's
Imagine.
paid for everything in your
years.
life,
Yeah.
for the most part.
Literally, yeah.
I mean, it is. That's Rockford has basically been everything you've ever known.
Yeah.
That's scary.
That's
I mean, I was the same way when I worked at my first place. I was there for 21 years. So it's like it was my kid being born, marriage, first 2 houses, and all that stuff. It's all paid for that. Yes, 12 volt can actually give you a life. It's pretty scary. So let's talk about what we're doing for the 40th anniversary.
So the 40th anniversary, there's a contest that's on our social media on Rockford Fosgate. So we're doing an amplifier that's engraved, and then there's also a loaded enclosure that has
That's
a
the R1?
logo. The R1.
R1
Yep.
wedge. Yep.
R1 or P3 shallow. Can't
thought it
remember.
was-
I
yeah,
think it's an
that-
R1.
I think it's an R1.
I think
Yes,
it's an R1. I saw it the other day on
yeah.
Instagram. It kept popping up on my feed.
So that promotion is active right now, so customers can, fanatics can go out there, tag their friends, and and talk about that.
Was that your idea?
No, I wish it was, but it's just another
It's part
promotion.
of the
marketing,
yeah,
part of
that's
the
good. That's
promotion.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do they
I give
have
back
to
your
do if
credit.
they?
What's that?
Give back your credit.
All right.
Okay.
So once again, what do they have to do if they want to win?
So it's basically you just share it with 3 of your friends
Okay.
and like the page. That's pretty much it.
All right, we gotta
There
do
you
that.
go.
Jesus.
See, I told you. That's
Oh.
not simple.
It's
And-
And,
go crazy.
and comment on it.
oh my god!
See?
And comment.
Yeah.
See, we can never get people to do that.
Yeah.
We could never get people to do it. We were giving away a giant thing, and we just wanted to make a small video telling why it was a Bluetooth speaker that we were giving away. We're like, all you
Alright.
gotta do is make a small video.
Johnny want to know, hey Eric, when will the M2 8-inch wake towers come out?
Ooh,
Like the color optics, I'm assuming that you're talking about.
I'm thinking.
Well, if you've paid attention to Rockford Fosgate, you know that there is a cycle that happens with product development. So we spent all the time, resource, and effort into developing the color optic speakers, which are these.
Yep. Here, let's see it. So this is the new speaker line, and this is variable color. Does the whole rainbow thing, and it's Bluetooth controlled from your phone, which we'll get to the whole phone app thing in a minute. But watch this. Watch this. So if you've ever owned these speakers before.
So it's
Look at
interchangeable,
that.
so you can do a different bezel, or you can do the stainless bezel on this one.
Did they make a white version?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
There
there's
you
white
go.
and black.
White and black.
Black.
All right, so the real cool part about this has nothing to do with the cool lights, because I'm not a lights guy. All right, I want to hit him. Okay, there we go. So you saw how hard that was to get out. That was, all right, so on the back here, there's a big hole and a little hole, and of course the 2 little speaker connectors. So what this will do is you can do the 4 poles for the RGB. It's a nice connect. It comes with this, right?
Yes.
It comes with, and does it come with the one for the speaker?
No, just the light controller, because the speaker you would normally use spade terminals.
But if
Right.
you wanted
Or
to,
you can buy an
what is it?
Amphenol.
I was
These
gonna
are
say-
Deutsch connectors.
I was gonna say, yeah, that one.
Deutsch
I was
connector.
called Dutch.
Dutch, yeah.
Yeah. What the Dutch? Pass the Deutschie on the. Anyways.
So they're waterproof, so you can plug that in, and you've got a water seal
Connection.
connection. And then the other one is plus and minus. So if you don't want to use
These.
the plus and minus spade terminals, you
can
can
make a
use
cool-
a 2-pin Deutsch connector and plug that into the Amphenol connector, and it's watertight.
And then does the pair come with the Bluetooth controller, or do you buy that separately?
So the color Optix is separate.
Okay.
And this will allow you to do any color that you want. Pink, green, blue, whatever you want to match your car.
Now, can you combine any one of these 4 colors? Let's say you just want to light up red.
Yeah, so this is all hardwired, so you can just configure this to be red, green, blue, white. Yeah, pretty much the primary colors.
Okay. So if you didn't want to, if you just like, I have a red boat and I want my speakers to be red.
Always be red, yeah. You can,
always be red.
You can do that with the supplied cable that comes
Deadpool,
with
always
it.
be
Yeah.
red. Don't wear the brown pants.
ABR.
Always be red.
Hey, there you go. Alaska Love, Rockford Fosgate.
Hey,
Boom.
thanks.
So the reason why this does this though is so that you can mount it like this if you
Interchange it,
want.
yep.
So, and then of course this, plus, you know, here in Florida, these don't always last as long as we hope they do. So now you don't have to send back the whole speaker just to get new little panels.
So you can just use the other Centrex insert so that's all black if you wanted to. Or the
Oh.
all white, yeah. If you get the white version.
So cool, so cool.
Yeah, so these are brand new color Optix speakers. So we put a lot of time and effort into developing the speakers. So you could probably guess that those may make their way onto other product lines.
Tubbies. Ooh, motorcycles.
All right.
What?
Did
I
they,
think he was talking about weight tower speakers.
Yeah, but I was just talking about, you said other products. I was going motorcycles. Because everyone wants lights on motorcycles, right? Don't we all?
Yeah.
Don't we? Come on, everyone?
do the
No?
mini 6.5 pods come in white?
Yes.
There you go. There you do.
Yeah.
You mean the actual enclosure or the speaker? The speaker comes in white and black. Oh, the mini. So you mean the mini cans?
The short
Those
one.
are black only.
Okay.
Yeah, because those were really designed for ATVs and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, so that you don't crack. Oh,
How do the Punch Pro tweeters sound? They're freaking loud.
oh dude. Yeah, is that so they had 2. They came out with the big one at first, and they came out
And
with
they
the
came
second
out
one
with the
that was
smaller
Neo
one, Neo. Yeah,
Yeah.
just because of they're actually fitting perfect in some of Harley gauges.
Yeah.
So take the gauge out, put the tweeter
So you
in.
guys are still making the tweeters?
Still making the tweeters?
You don't make the mids anymore though, right?
We discontinued the 8 ohm, but we're still making the 4 ohm.
Oh,
Right.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, so when that company decided they wanted to steal your die, that really sucked. Yeah. Oh, now I know why
Yeah.
you guys were mad.
All right.
That was
So,
cheesy.
any good options from Rockford Fosgate for a 2.75 rear field speaker?
Oh, they're talking about mini speakers, like
Yeah.
a 3-way set. Man, see, this is hard.
That's a hard one.
We
Yeah.
shouldn't be throwing these questions at you. Okay, so I
Neo
guess
versus ferrite. Weight.
yeah, and stronger. Neo's stronger.
All things being equal, if you made the same Gauss or same motor strength, one would obviously be much lighter than the other.
Well, yeah. But, okay. I was just saying though, if you have an ounce of this and an ounce of that,
You'd have 2 ounces of.
You got to
magnet. That's good. So.
Basic
all right.
madman.
So there are certain things he's not privy to and things we can't talk about.
Right.
And updating the speaker line in the 12-volt world to come out like a 3-way set or something like that probably isn't anything that is on the 2020 radar of things to discuss.
We'd love to have your feedback. So
Like it.
anybody
So,
can submit bright ideas. We
we'll
do
leave it
on
like
the
that.
contact form. So
You guys can keep talking. I just want to.
All right, so I have another-
It's in front of me, torturing me.
Do the T1 component speakers have a good sound? Or do you have to step it out with the T3 or the T4?
So there is a breakdown to. They're all different. So they
Yes.
all have a
All
different
different,
sound
yeah.
signature. And Rico, at one point when he used to work for you guys, kind of broke that down for me,
Yep.
like a T1 to T2 to T3 to T4 to T5.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming you probably have that same breakdown, or are you going to tell me?
in a nutshell,
Yeah.
as you go up in series, you have different materials for tweeter and mid-range. So sound quality is of more importance. Sensitivity slightly diminishes, but sound quality greatly improves. So with the T1, T2, you're basically looking at the difference between a silk dome and a titanium dome.
So
So
the T2 has a titanium dome, which means it's like in your face.
it's bright.
Yep.
But if you want bright highs, then yeah, that's the one to get. But if you are more on sound quality and you have optimum tweeter location in the car, yeah, I would recommend the silk dome for sure.
Now, when you go up to the T3, doesn't that go back to the dome tweeter?
It does. It's a different type of material.
Right.
And then when we get up to the T4, it has actual phase plug on it.
Right.
But the phase plug is built into the T1, T2s, and the T3s already.
Is there a T4? Or is it
It's
just
There's a
T5?
T4.
And a
Is there a
T5. Yeah.
The
There was a
T5s
T5 too, yeah.
was there?
T5.
You mean there's no more T5?
There's no more T5.
No more T5.
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
I have a crush on the T5.
Oh, he was so like the first.
Yeah, they were sick.
He was so like.
Oh yeah.
Oh. All right, so keep going. I'm gonna.
Aluminum is loudest, yeah.
That's loudest. What? I can't hear what you're saying. It's so bright. It's so bright. All right. So. I
There you
know,
go. Everybody
I'm
asked about
sidetracked.
the prime amplifier.
Yeah, we're going to talk
Okay,
about the
this is
prime.
what we're talking about.
This is
Yeah.
what we're
talking
getting to. Sorry, we had to tease the show a little bit. I mean, you got to give us a moment. You know,
So
we
there's
don't
8
just want
new
to walk in. All right, go. Sorry.
There's 8 new amplifiers. So there's 4 mono amplifiers and a 2-channel amp, and then there's 3 multi-channel amps. So the mono amplifiers, there's an R2 250X1. Obviously, that's rated at 250 watts at 2 ohm. There's the 500 watt, which is what we're looking at here, and that's rated at 500 watts
feel that.
into a 2 ohm load.
Feel that.
There's the 750, that is rated at 750 at 1 ohm. And then there's the 1200, that's 1200 at 1 ohm as well. So the 750 and the 1200 are rated to play at 1 ohm loads. The 250 and the 500 are rated to play at either 2 or 4 ohm.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I was just, you know.
Dude, this is so nice.
feels-
That's
feels
clicky,
nice.
Super
clicky,
super
clicky
compact.
nice.
Yeah,
And
the
it-
tactile feels
Comes with,
really good.
It comes with the nut and the washer.
Of
for it,
course.
so you can take it apart.
And the cool thing is it has the logo right in the front. Nice.
Oh, on the knob.
Yeah, it's not illuminated, so it won't blind
Ooh,
you at
it
night.
pulls right off.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That is
Yeah.
so
Oh,
nice.
it's not glued.
I like that.
All right, keep talking.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the 4 channels.
So the 4-channel, there's a 300X4, a 500X4, and then a 750X5 5-channel amp. The 300X4 is rated at 75 by 4 at 2 ohms, and then the 500 by 4 is rated at 125 by 4 at
100.
2.
Oh, okay, so
4 ohms.
75.
Excuse me,
and-
2 ohms. Sorry.
2 ohm. Okay.
So that's the one thing I like about the Prime line is that they make more than one 4-channel amplifier.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
or the 5-channel amp, the 750X5 is probably one of the best amplifiers that we've built. A lot of power in such a small heat sink. The amplifiers have overall gotten a little bit smaller, and the 750 is real dynamo. So it's rated at
How long that is.
100 by 4 at 2 ohms, and then the sub-channel is rated at 350.
That is nice.
The
At
length
2
of
ohm.
that. That's usually the problem is that like
length.
these are
They're too
so
short.
short.
It's too
Yeah.
short.
That's
yeah.
like super long.
That is
But
nice.
yeah, so nice and simple. It's got the thread on there. Ooh, feels so good. It goes tick, 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 tick. I'm sorry, we're easily amused. Standard phone cable connection. 6 pin? 6 or 5?
Looks like a 6-pin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 6.
And we have replacements available already if you do lose that or take it out of your rental car.
So, are the 4 channels D or AB?
All of them are Class D.
Oh,
So
wow.
Okay.
what's super cool
Ooh,
is
so they're all going to be small this year.
and there's you can see. I mean that's a 500 watt amp, so it's a little bit smaller than previous generation.
Yes.
Yeah, because
it's-
the older
it's smaller.
primes, you had some that were AB and some that were D,
Right.
and
so
that
these
always
are all
kind of like threw people off because it was like
it's a mixed bag.
250
yeah.
by 1, huge, 500 by 1, microscopic, and they're like, I want the bigger one.
Yeah, so all Class D. So these are different high efficiency designs, and we actually the coolest part is we took some of the clean technology that worked very well with the Punch and the Power series and put it in the Prime. So now you have clean in a Prime series amplifier.
So for those of you that don't know what clean is,
And
that's
actually, people were talking about that. Yeah. So
they're
continue.
all Class D.
Touche.
Oh, dude, you win. That's awesome. Let's talk about clean for a minute, just to kind of like fill everyone in. Rockford's been using it for years. Certain gentleman used to work for you guys at one point.
Okay.
Anyways, so we have a light for in and we have a light for out.
Mm-hmm.
And So how would we set this up? Run us through the basic setup real quick.
So clean helps you match the source unit output voltage to the amplifier's input sensitivity. So we're not changing the wattage of the amplifier because you can't do that.
Well, we can assume that the gain is not a wattage adjustment.
Right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people think, well, there's gain knobs on it, so I can turn the gain up and get more power.
What you trying to say? Like, I got it at 15, man. I could still go. I can still go. I'm only halfway up, bro.
Your guitar amps go to 11 too, right? So so we're matching the input of the source unit to the input sensitivity of the amplifier, and then that's where the LED will tell you where the volume knob is distorting. So usually it's about 7/8. Older radios, it's about 3/8.
That's not even worried
Excuse
about
me,
that.
3/4.
So what I see is there's no disc.
There is no tuning disc.
There's no tuning disc.
They're available on our website.
So you go to Rockford, you can download the test tones because you're gonna play a test tone.
Yep.
You have various test tones. So you guys don't just use 1,000. Sometimes there's a couple different test tones.
Yeah. So it's called gain overlap. So we have 40 hertz, 1 kilohertz, and 4 kilohertz in 0 dB, 5 dB, 10 dB, and 15 dB. And I think we also have 20 dB gain overlap. So what we really recommend is, it's a lot of information. We recommend 5 dB for your high frequency speakers.
Yep.
And 10 dB on your subwoofers. So that's going to give you the best. It's actually David Navone and Richard Clark back in AutoSound.
Whoever they are.
Right? So once the LED turns the different color,
so
okay, that's the maximum.
So 0 dB on the input. So the radio, you want to test that for 0 dB.
You want to test that at 0 dB first.
0 dB.
Yeah.
So that light will come on, and that'll tell us the maximum volume output the maximum number we can set our volume at.
And then you keep it there.
Ever.
And then, temporarily, we keep it there so that we can set the output.
Yeah, so then we change tracks, and we know that 38 is as loud as that can play, so then we're going to change tracks, and we're going to start turning up our gain now to -5 dB, and then we're golden. So when that light comes on, still at 38, that light comes on, we have -5 dBs of overlap, which means don't always play it at 38, but if you are listening to something that is a little quieter, you can turn it up to 38. But if you listen to something modern that has amazing recording sound quality, or just the loudness maxed out to maximum, then no, don't play it at 36 maybe.
But at least you know where the maximum level on the source unit should be.
Yeah.
So don't turn it up past that, because then you wind up getting a really degraded signal, clips, you get a lot of distortion.
Speaking of clips, I see there's a power protect light on here.
So yeah, there's a lot of different circuitries that one LED is monitoring. There's thermal.
Okay. Now, does it just light up one color, or is it multicolor?
I think it's tricolor.
Tricolor, so like blue,
red, purple.
reddish,
purple when they both come on. That's what the amp is loving you. It's purple.
So it's monitoring the protection circuitry, which is called Nomad. So that looks at the power supply and the output devices and makes sure that everything is running properly. If it sees too low of an impedance or a short on the speaker outputs, it'll go into protect mode. If it's under a seat or in an amp rack or behind something where there's very little ventilation, then it could thermal. Thermal's about 90 degrees Celsius.
Nomad is the name of the circuit, is why there's no fuse on this.
That's right.
Because they use Nomad.
Electronic circuitry, yeah.
Which is 99.99. This is all fake numbers, by the way. They're not.
That's Dean's numbers.
These are Dean's numbers, not their numbers. But there's that 0.1000% chance that it might fail. So run a fuse. Under the hood.
Run a fuse.
Under the hood.
Under the hood.
Yeah, definitely.
But your amplifiers are going to be protected.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. You always put a fuse under the hood.
So
always.
To preface what we were just talking about, there's been a lot of debate. One of the circuits, we've had a lot of conversations about this, and of course, because of like if you're going to run this in a 4-channel distribution block with a fuse holder, because there's a very small chance. And the reason why I bring it up is because we've talked about it so much.
Yeah.
And he's going, shut up. Well, you promised. No. But anyways, back to this amplifier. And that's all amplifiers. That's not just theirs. That's
all amplifiers.
That's all amplifiers.
Every amplifier.
Yeah. All right. So high level input.
High level input.
Comes with this. DC offset.
Has DC offset trigger on it, so you can turn that on or leave it leave it on or turn it off.
Switch.
So the
There it
defeat.
is. Yeah. That is so nice. Now, some of you guys are going, okay, so we've all discussed what DC offset is in the past, but we'll rehash it because this was a conversation we were having last weekend because everyone, how many times have you been to a training where you've said, oh, it has DC offset, and just moved on to the next topic because you just assume
everybody knows what it is,
what DC offset is, and the reality is nobody in the room knows what DC offset is. They're just going, yeah. And they'll go to their buddy later. Oh, this DC offset.
Now, do we have the prices on the website for these amplifiers?
Yep. So everything is on rockfordfosgate.com.
Go to the website, rockfordfosgate.com, and you can find how much they can cost. Go to the dealer.
So anyways, you got that. So what DC offset is, do you want to explain it? You want to do it?
Go ahead.
No, I don't want to.
You're talking about high-level inputs, so
all right,
you're the
so
master right there.
DC offset, you take your digital multimeter.
Yep.
Now, not all car audio factory radios have this because some amplifiers just don't.
Correct.
Yeah, so
depends on the vehicle. Yeah.
Depends on the vehicle, so that's why you have to test it. Put your meter to DC, which is the line with the dots beneath it. Take one test probe, go to ground. Take the other test probe, pick either speaker wire, doesn't matter. And this should say somewhere around 6 volts. If it says somewhere around 6 volts, you have DC offset. Now you can turn the car off, wait till it goes to sleep, and that'll disappear. And then wake back up. When I say wait till it goes to sleep, because not all cars that shuts off with key. Some do, and you're like, awesome. Most of them don't because they still need like door chimes,
delay.
And, delays and stuff like that. Yep. But if it does that, that means it has DC offset, and that is a beautiful thing. That means no remote turn on. It'll do it for you and save you tons of time. And it works phenomenal.
Yeah, so you can use the DC offset, ironically, on the high level or the low level. We do recommend on the high level. Yeah,
okay.
It's an unintended consequence that it didn't work out that way. But the defeat switch is pretty convenient depending on the vehicle.
And I'm happy it has a defeat switch because there's another amplifier manufacturer using the other day where we needed to shut that off because we were getting some turn-off pop.
Turn-off pop, yeah.
And I was like, so we ran a remote turn on to it, but it's still, because it was high level, it auto senses the high level and turns on the DC offset automatically. And it's like, so then we had to connect it so that the DC offset wasn't triggering, which really sucked. And at the end of the day, I should just use an external high-level, low-level adapter and just been done with it.
Yeah, so if you install this amplifier and you get a turn-off pop, basically turn that switch.
And then run an actual remote turn-on. Punch EQ. Do you know enough? Can you give me a dissertation on Punch EQ?
So yeah, the original Punch EQ was plus up to 18 dB at 45 hertz.
Yep.
And then it was a hinge filter from 12 kilohertz on up.
What's a hinge filter?
So normally you would have a bass boost, which it looks like a peak.
Yep.
And a hinge filter is literally a hinge. So it's boosting all those frequencies as it increases.
It's like a ramp.
It's like a ramp, yeah.
Okay.
So that's the original Punch EQ, and these have These are 45 hertz at 0 to 18 dB, so it gives you a wide range to help fix for the acoustical deficiencies that are in the vehicle, and that's just the acoustics of the car. Obviously, hey, I sat in my car and it sounds different than when I sat in my friend's car, or even in a Jeep, where you have nothing to reverberate anything off of.
Right.
Completely different acoustics. In fact, you have very, very little in a Jeep.
Now, when we're adjusting Punch EQ, we're also looking at the clean out, because you want to adjust those two kind of in conjunction with one another, because you could easily do 10 dB here, but then add another 8 to 10, 15 dB here, and then you got 25 dBs or 30 dBs of gain overlap going gorilla in your trunk.
And typically you want to do the EQ first and then do your gain settings.
Or go back and check it, but always keep in mind when you're adjusting the Punch EQ is to be conscious of how much it's actually adding to it.
Yep.
And don't just think, well, the clean came on, so it's got to be. No, that's.
Why do they offer bass boost? The best way to blow subwoofers? If you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Yeah, but I can tell you, from years of experience, when some cars, it's just a bass vacuum, and it's like, that helps. It helps a lot.
Yeah, it totally depends on the acoustics of the car. So
that's why the center that is Epic came out.
Yeah.
Not just for records. That's why that actually came out?
For records?
For records.
I believe it.
Yeah, and that's because they didn't have those low frequencies. So, and then of course we have a gain. What is the input sensitivity on this? Varies between, it says 1 and 11. Is that volts?
It's 150 millivolts to 4 volts on the low end, and then it's up to 12 volts on the high level inputs.
Ooh, 12 volts on
12
high
volts.
level. Ooh,
Nice.
2 more than everyone else. There
Yep.
you go.
Yep.
So if you have below 12 volts of high level, there again, we always recommend always measure your high level output. Most cars are cool. 12 volts is pretty high. Most of them are 10, so 12 is nice. But just like the other day when we were talking about, we were working on a amplified premium system. I don't remember what car it was. Put out 25 volts.
Really?
Yeah, put out 25.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a Ford.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Ford.
Single-ended. Wow.
25 volts we got playing 50
Hey,
hertz.
Adam. Yeah.
That's
50
pretty
hertz,
phenomenal.
25 volt. And at 80 at an 80 hertz, it was putting out like 19.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
That's real
it was
strong.
pretty insane. I'm going, holy Jesus.
Car game from
That's
Portugal.
tons of gain overlap.
That's tons of factory gain overlap going on,
Yeah,
man. Holy crap.
exactly.
That was like, we need a really good high level to low level adapter for this one. Okay, so
Yep.
this is new. This is going forward. So let's talk about the 40th anniversary because they have one of these. You can only get the special one with that.
So you guys gonna give away just one?
There is one that was made,
Okay.
and it is laser engraved that has the 40th anniversary logo on it. So if you win that package, there is the one amplifier that's available for you.
It's unique.
Yeah, it
So,
is unique.
That's it.
One of a kind.
I got a laser right there. I mean, I can make as many of them as we need. Just say when.
Let's do it.
So what else can you tell me? What else do we need? What else have we forgotten to talk about with these?
So we got the clean input. We upgraded the Mesa substrate from Mesa 3 to a 4.
And that's the substrate that's connecting the MOSFETs to the heatsink
Heatsink.
for optimum heating and cooling performance.
Yes, it's
was
called
paying
Illumina.
attention.
Yep,
Illumina?
it's called Illumina.
Was that in one of the Marvel movies?
It's next to unobtainium.
Yeah, right?
Wow.
So it's a little bit less expensive method with getting the same type of results to quickly get that heat off those FETs onto the heat sink itself.
Yeah, I was-
this is this the third generation?
The third generation. Yeah,
This
the
is the third
first one
generation.
was the extruded aluminum. The
I
second
think
one
Paul
were
still actually has some of those over
casts,
Yeah.
which are phenomenal amplifiers. We
Yeah.
made phenomenal circuitry improvements, and then this one is just refining it and adding the clean and
there. And kind of bringing it
high-level
into the
input.
look of
Oh yeah.
the
That's-
the punch. It all kind of blends in. At first, when these came out, and I saw that pre-release photo that no one was supposed to see. Yeah, I know, right? Oops, my bad. Wasn't me. I didn't do it. I swear that wasn't my fault. I was
that
like,
was
oh, they have
nice.
new punch amps.
Yeah.
Because the punch is typically what you guys
Right.
always rev. Because I mean, was the punch is on what, Rev 20 now? I mean, it
Yeah,
seemed
a
like
lot.
for a while
Yeah.
there it was
Hey,
like,
Victor.
hey, let's add some chrome.
All right. So for the people who was asking, thank you, Bill. The price is $219.
So somebody was asking before, this is the R2 500 X1. This is the 500 watt mono amp.
This is going to be the most popular one.
So what's different with Rockford Fosgate amps is we use unregulated power supplies, which means that you actually get more power output when connected to the electrical system. It's just like your car has a rating of horsepower.
Or less, depending on if you have less power.
Right.
But the amplifier will stay on.
The amplifier will stay on, yeah.
Yeah. But keep going.
It will
Rated
still
horsepower.
it will not generate less than what we rated at.
So not go below 500.
Right.
So it's going to ramp up to try to draw more current.
It will draw, yeah. Well, yeah. It's unregulated, so yeah.
So your car has more horsepower.
More horsepower. So we're putting it on a dyno, and then we realize, oh, we actually have more power in the engine to give more capability. So that's what's happening. So when so 600 over 600 watts for this 500 watt amplifier. When you're putting an amplifier on a speaker, it's not the same as a resistive load, and that's where a lot of people think, oh, I hooked this up on my test bench in my garage, and I've got a 4 ohm load, and I'm getting X amount of watts by the calculation. We actually do dynamic tests on Power Cube.
Power
Power
cube.
And then we also
You don't use
do
one of these?
that's a resistor, yeah. So that's what we would normally test on a production line.
Just to make sure it turns on.
Just to make sure that you've got a load against the circuitry. But yeah, and when we develop these in Tempe, Arizona, we use what's called a Power Cube, and that's out of Sweden. And it actually replicates a real speaker. So there's resistive, which is what we've got here,
Right.
capacitive, and inductive loads. So it mimics all three of those loads to check the protection circuitry, the output voltage, and anything else. You could have oscillations in an amplifier if you have a high capacitive load. There was actually one amplifier that we tested years ago in my vehicle, and it was one of the biggest amplifiers that we ever made back in the history, really, still to this day, with that number of MOSFETs. And the amp ran just fine. We put it in my vehicle, and it was going into a weird protection mode because I had 8 audiophile 12-inch subwoofers. So when you think about 8
what
subwoofers,
kind of car was this?
It was a Nissan hardbody truck.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, we'll come back to that. Keep going.
So when you have that many subwoofers, when you have a large array of subwoofers, you have a large, a lot of voice coils, right?
Yeah,
so what are those
moving.
voice coils? They're inductive loads. So the amplifier was actually protecting under high, very, very high inductive loads. So the engineer was able to look at what was going on, was able to replicate it, and he updated the circuitry. So then for super large arrays, like, you know, when Brian Schmidt and Greg Cobbs built Team X Max van, that was one of the amplifiers that they used in that demo vehicle. And it could run such a large number of subwoofers without going into protect or oscillation or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so the Power Cube tests for a lot of different things, and that's why we use it.
So when you guys...
And that's why you guys have this.
Yeah.
So this is actually
That's
generated
off the
using
AP.
Audio Precision.
Yeah.
Yep.
We
So
say that looks like an AP test.
Yep.
So when we were in Dallas and you were doing your 101 class and you were talking about the Power Cube, so while everyone else was listening to your conversation, what were you and I doing, Fernando?
We're like, we have to buy a cube. And then we find out how much it costs, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, we don't have to buy
And then
a
my
cube.
stomach went, hey man, it's time to use the bathroom.
I think that was the Indian food that you ate.
I don't know. I was like, I'm out. Bye, Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a Power Cube is really expensive. That's why a lot of people don't have one.
Right.
So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Audio Precision is not exactly, you know, cheap. But yeah, so it's the right way. Audio Precision is the right way to measure an amplifier power. And that is
Test
what we
every- yeah.
really do on these PVCs. This is actually an upgrade too, because normally we just had the page that just showed power output and whether it passed, and it had the
Yeah, 'cause that was
technician's signature.
prime.
Right,
Yeah.
because it was prime.
Right.
These now have upgraded punch verification certificates. So it's also new with this.
Keep going.
Yep.
First time
Keep
we've
going.
ever done this. So you notice there is an addition on the back panel for an extended warranty. So extended warranty, if you get this amplifier installed with the matching power kit, power ground kit, we will give you 1 extra year warranty.
If you get it installed.
If you get it installed at the same
Signed,
time. Yep.
authorized by service performed by
Nice.
anyone other than Rockford Fosgate, authorized Rockford.
So regular is 1 year. Buy the Rockford kit.
2 years.
You get 2-year warranty.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
Nice.
Somebody in marketing was like, how do we sell more power kits?
well. That was only exclusively for Punch series and
Yeah.
2 to 3 year on Power series. We've to keep the cost down. We've always tried to, keep those programs for the other models. And this year we're able to put that program with this amplifier. So it's super cool.
It is. I love it. What else have we?
Yeah, that's
missed? Have
awesome.
we covered everything?
Hey, Jose.
So the 5-channel, real quick. I want to go back to that because that is like going to be.
That's
our,
a workhorse. Yeah, so it's 100 watts by 4 at 2 ohms, and then 350 watts by 1 at 2 ohm.
And just
California.
under a foot long, so it's 11.2. So it's a little bit about that much bigger.
So it's
cool.
dynamic power is about 20% more than what it's rated for the 5-channel. It also comes with the bass knob or the level. We actually have to be clarify.
Yes.
The knob is not a bass knob on this series. It's actually a level control, which is completely different.
That is completely different.
So the punchy Q is on
See, when
the
we ask
amplifier.
questions, we walk to other things. Keep going.
Yeah.
So this is where you're going to get your punch bass to compensate for the acoustical deficiency. The level control, wherever you set your gain control with the clean setup, now you have something where you can adjust it lower than that gain on the amp at your fingertips.
So it's a true volume knob, more or less.
It's really an
So
extension of the gain.
you set the
control, yeah.
gain
Yep.
here. The volume is going to go between here and here.
Yes.
One increment at a time. So if it's all the way up, it's still going to move. Yeah. Okay. So it auto ranges
Yeah.
more or less.
Yeah, depending on what you've got on the main board, it'll match with that. So that'll let you, specifically on subwoofers, if you've got some tracks that are really hot, with bass, you can adjust that down just a little bit so that your highs match your low frequencies.
There you go.
Cool.
That's it.
Now, one other thing I want to talk about. So we were talking about the DSR-1, and we're just going to go back on that. And there again, going to be an easy quick. We talked about one of the things that we're off is the password on the DSR-1. It is coming.
Working on it.
Software
they know
update,
what's going on.
because they're doing all the big software updates because of the cool lighting. And so it is going to sometime in second quarter.
Second quarter should be live.
We'll get an update so that we can put a password into the DSR-1s and lock those things down so those crazy bikers can't drive past your car and change your tune.
Yeah. So people wonder why the delay. Well, we were developing the app, what's called RF Connect. And RF Connect is really going to be the hub.
Okay.
So when you have products that are Bluetooth capable, you're going to be able to control it all through one app.
So whether it's the lights, it's the DSR-1, future products that we can't talk about because we don't know anything.
So right now it's the PMX-1 radio and the Color Optix controller are launched on that platform right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the PMX-1
That's so cool.
So now you have the radio in the dash and you can control it from your phone.
Everything.
So if you're in the front of the boat in the water doing all the cool stuff,
Everything
or on
from
the
your
ATV.
phone, man.
Yeah, because you know where your phone's at, right? It's always in your pocket.
Of course.
I never know where my phone is at. That's why I have a yellow case.
You lose it all the time. Where's my phone?
I do. It's literally right here in front of me. Where's my phone? I have my watch so I can find my phone.
Yeah.
I
Terminal.
mean,
That's true.
yeah, I mean, that's the reality of it.
The terminals for the speakers are the same.
Same terminals as the Gen 2,
Everything
yes.
stays the same.
Yep.
So
Still 4 gauge input for power ground and 8 gauge for speaker.
there you go.
Is that it?
Yep.
We
that's
got
it.
that?
We have
Keeper of the time, Jason, is telling us
56
where we're at.
minutes.
Dude, it's been an hour?
It's been an hour. You see,
I know,
that's
right?
I had a good time.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad you did. I mean, I didn't make it too hard for you. I didn't throw you. I wasn't like.
You always do. You always do.
Hey guys, listen, thanks so much for tuning in. If you have any more questions about the Prime amplifiers, please feel free to ask later on, and we'll try to get some answers for you if we didn't give them out. I think we covered it pretty well, though.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm pretty excited about this. This is definitely an upgrade from the previous. Thank you so much, Eric, for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
You basically had to give up your weekend to do this, so
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to come down to see you guys.
Really awesome that you did. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Stay tuned Monday on Facebook. We're going to have a special guest coming in from Portland. That's right. We're going to have Matthew Palumbo. That's his cool name.
That's
and
right.
from Audio Control answering some questions. He's the new guy. Remember being the new guy? No, you don't, because that was so long ago. Well, we got a new guy coming in.
We got to do the prize giveaway.
We have a prize giveaway?
Yes.
We have a prize. All right.
Ooh,
There you go.
Okay.
Right.
So this is something super cool, totally coincidence. When we were preparing for the 40th anniversary, our screen printer that we used to use in the 80s and 90s actually
has the screens?
found original T-shirts that we made.
Wow.
Still in the package. Still, you can see the
These are definitely
the labels are brown.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm giving you a handful of these, so that 5-star can give these away, whatever type of contest you want to do. These are original T-shirts from the 90s, sealed in their packages. So feel free to do whatever type of contest you want to do.
All right, so what we'll do is we won't do that now because we're not set up to do it, but we'll definitely take care of this next week.
Yep,
And so we got a couple shirts here that we're going to give away. Awesome. So we got a large, an extra large, and a big boy shirt, 2XL. So we'll figure out how we're going to give those off. Maybe we'll do a combination because Bill is also dropping off some more CDs.
Yep.
So maybe we'll do a whole Rockford sound pack.
Yep.
But thank you for these. That's cool. Yeah, I know. Don't you guys love it? So we'll think of something to do that.
There you go.
Yeah, super cool.
Maybe next weekend. That's it. That's it. So, as Jason said, D&F Tools Drawer is a place you can go find all the cool tools that we do use on our installs. Teespring/store/5-star if you want to get the cool 5-star shirt. So we made a shirt we always make new shirts when we go to, so this one said, do you even zip tie, or do you zip tie,
Do you zip tie, bro?
Yeah, we made
that.
okay.
Yeah.
So that one was a big hit. Apparently those are selling pretty well. And then we also have a new one that I just built last night, which is an American flag. So it's going to be 5-star, but inside is a 5-star American flag. The stars are 5-star. Yeah, I know, right? Who has that kind of time?
This guy. That guy does.
We were watching a really bad teen show last night, and I was like, I can't watch this. Haley was just like, I can't watch this. So I designed a t-shirt instead. So anyways, Teespring/store, so that's 5-star. Patreon, of course, if you want to support the show. We thank you guys so much. We're going to let you guys get out of here on with your weekend. It's Saturday night. That means it's a night where people do dumb things. So if you're going to be doing dumb things, be safe. Uber, Lyft, they're cheap. We, of course, found out we got to use them while we were in California. Not for that reason, of course, but hey, it was a lot of fun. There again, thanks, Eric Russell, thank you so much for stopping by. You guys have a wonderful weekend as always. We'll see you back here Monday.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.